So today I'm going to show you how to make compositions in After Effects for full animation, working with foreground, middle ground, and background, and working with multi compositions within a composition. And so this will be helpful for those of you that are pursuing editing and compositing full animation scenes, for example, for your final film. And so the first thing I'm going to do is once you open After Effects, you go to File and save it as, and then find the right folder to save your project. In this case, I'll just go to my tutorial folder, and over there I'll make a folder, AE After Effects Lesson 3, um, and then I'm just going to name this AE After Effects underscore 3. Um, and so once you save your project, the first thing you do is on the project panel, you want to save all the necessary files. So first of all, looking at the folders, what we need for this exercise, I have two scenes from one of my previous films, and scene number 2 and scene number 3. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and make those two scene folders here in the project panel. Click on the folder, scene, SC for short for scene, number 2, and then click out of it and click this little folder icon again, scene 3. There you go. And then once you click on scene number 2 folder you've just created, all you have to do is to on your Finder or folder, go ahead and click all the files you need for this animation, and go ahead and click and drag it over to drag and drop on scene 2 folder. Same thing with scene 3, everything in scene 3 folder. Select everything and click and drag it over to scene 3 folder. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and make a composition. And so first let's take a look at what we have under scene number 2. We have a bunch of animated frames, right? And then some foreground and background. And so in this instance, I want to go ahead and, first of all, I want to go ahead and go to After Effects and Preferences and Import. After Effects, Preferences, and Import. And once the import window shows up, instead of, if you're by default, yours is at length of composition for still footage, you're going to click one below that and mark it however number of frames you want to import onto the timeline. So for example, if you animate it to be shot in threes, then you're going to write down 03 at the end and hit OK. And then you're going to go ahead and make a composition, new composition. And then once this composition window pops up, you're going to go ahead and put down scene 02. Okay, and I cannot remember exactly how many seconds this scene should last, and so I'm just going to go ahead and just to be safe, put down 10 seconds for now. Remember, hour, minute, second, and frame. Okay, so 10 seconds, 0 frame. All right, so I'm going to leave it. Well, this one I believe is animated to fit HD TV 1080. So I'm going to click HD TV 1080, which is 1920 by 1080 pixel, the maximum HD resolution. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to go ahead and click from the first animated frame in scene 2, and then hold down the shift on your keyboard and click 34, which is the last animated frame of this scene, and click and drag it over to the timeline. Okay, and then you're going to click Option Command F on your screen. I'm sorry, Option Command F on your keyboard to make it fit to screen. Okay, it's taking a little while longer than I expected, but it should, the reason why we're doing Option Command F while everything is being selected is so that you can, uh, sometimes when you scan in your animated frames, it gets scanned in larger than the dimension, the HD dimension. So once that's done, on your timeline, this is a timeline panel, right? On your timeline, you're going to click the first one and then scroll down, hold down the shift on your keyboard and click the last one so everything can be selected on your timeline from top to bottom. Right click on it, go to Keyframe Assistant and click on Sequence Layers. And then once Sequence Layer Windows pops up, you're just going to go ahead and hit OK. Right? And so if you hit spacebar on your keyboard, you can see, well, this is, first of all, this is rendering, so it's not playing in the real speed, but you can see individual animated frames. So it's this fake beetle flying from the foreground all the way to the background and then sitting on a fruit. Okay? Well, except we don't have that fruit yet. Okay, so the next step is under there, as you can notice, besides those animated frames, I have a number of background drawings. Okay, so what I want to do actually is I'm going to go ahead and change the name of this composition by hitting on your project panel, click on the composition, hit return or enter on your keyboard, and then next to scene 02, I'm going to add animation only. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this create a new composition button to create a new composition. This time it's going to be scene 02. Fin or final altogether, as in animation and background combined. Okay, hit OK. Now the only thing is, if we go back to animation only layer, which we just edited, you can see the last couple of frames right there. When you click on the last drawing, if you look at your info panel up here on the right upper corner of your After Effects, it shows where it's exactly ending. In this instance, it says out at 3 seconds and 11 frame, right? 3 seconds and 11 frame. So you go to composition settings, and I'm going to change the duration from what I originally had to 3 seconds and 11 frames. So when you preview it, the duration or the length of this animation of this particular scene ends exactly where the last drawing ends, correct? Then we go to scene 02 final. Remember, this was 3 seconds and 11 frames as a scene duration. You're going to go ahead and change this duration of this scene 02 final composition to 3 seconds, 11 frames. Just like the animation only. So what's going to happen is, now if you bring scene 2 animation only layer, click and drag it over to the final composition, now you see everything without seeing the crazy stairway sequential layer order, right? So it's all in one line or one layer, as nicely organized as it is. Okay, then what you do is, in scene 02 over there, you see the background, this background right here, the sky, supposed to go on the back. Okay, so I put it below the animation layer. Okay, the other thing I have, okay, so first of all, this looks like this needs to go on top, in front of this beetle, and this one right there, the other fruit. So it's kind of like a puzzle, I painted all of this individually on a separate layer. So And then there's one more. So there we go. And then you can just select everything and then just click and drag over, those images on your timeline all the way to the right side so that you can fill up the entire screen. So it's rendering at this moment, but it seems like it's going in the right direction, except I except first couple of frames right there of the beetle until it gets to about this point. It really should be it really should be in front of this fruit. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and bring my current time indicator at where it should be splitted on this animation only, um, you know, composition that I brought into final composition. And then while this is being selected, I'm gonna go ahead and click Command Shift D. Command Shift D on your keyboard. And so I can bring the first portion of this beetle all the way on top above this of the front fruit layer. So it can start off, the beetle can start off being in front of the fruit and go behind the fruit at some point, and then sits on the fruit in the back. Okay, so this is about what I wanted for this particular scene. Okay, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to scene number 3. So scene number 3, I have all of these drawings for animation. Let's see. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and create um, scene 03 animation only layer, um, and then bring all of these drawings, animated frames from the folder on the project panel down to the timeline. And I'm gonna do the same thing. Option Command F. Option Command F to make it fit to screen. Option Command F unless you scanned your images, or when you animate digitally on Photoshop or elsewhere, your dimension was exactly at 1920 pixel by 1080 pixel, then you don't have to worry about you know combining or making them fit to the screen. But I scan these watercolor paintings individually animated and painted frames in a slightly higher resolution and higher dimension. That's why I had to make it fit to screen. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and click from top to bottom. Same thing, select everything on your timeline from top to bottom. Right click on any of the selected area. Go to Keyframe Assistant, Sequence Layers, and then hit OK. What you realize is if you click on the last drawing and you look at the info panel, the last drawing ends at what, 3 seconds and 20 frames, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to composition settings, and change it to 3 seconds and 20 frames. Then I'm gonna hit OK, and then I'm gonna hit minus on my keyboard to zoom out of the timeline to see everything. Then you can hit plus on your keyboard a number of times to zoom into the timeline. So minus and plus, something useful to know. So if you go ahead and hit spacebar to see what's happening, basically this beetle is munching on this fruit, except there's no fruit background yet. And the last couple of drawings from here, it really is supposed to be repeating. It really is supposed to be repeating a scene or a loop. And so I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, from here to here, I'm going to go ahead and click those last couple of drawings. Command C for copying on your keyboard, and Command V, and hold down the command button and hit V a couple of more times. And then you click from top to bottom on your timeline, right click on it, keyframe assistant and sequence layers, hit OK. It'll all line up, except now because of the duplicated frames at the end, now the composition duration is longer than how it was before. So click on the last drawing right there, and then look at where it's ending. Now it's ending at 5 seconds and 14 frames. So you're going to go ahead and make changes right there. Go to composition settings, and you change it to 5 seconds and 14 frames. There we go. So I'm not sure if it's quite how I want it, but you get the idea of this bug munching on this fruit. Okay, so now we have the animated layer. Now I'm going to go ahead and same thing, create a new composition for scene 3 underscore final or fin. Hit OK. Now you're going to bring the animation only layer down from the project panel to the timeline, and then go back to this project 3 folder and take a look at what we need. The first thing is that, I had the one right here without the fruit. Okay, I mean without that open fruit part. And so now all we have to do is from here, when it's completely open, which is over here right after this, we just need to make sure we put this opened frame on where it's supposed to be. So it's a little complicated, but it really depends on what your scene is. It can be much simpler. Now I'm dealing with 3+ layers. It can be just as simple as one background drawing and a character layer if you want to. So if I play, it goes like this. Oh, and then I need to extend the duration of this particular drawing all the way. So I think I get the idea. I don't think it was quite exactly how it was in my film. It's been several years now since I made this film, so I'm trying to refresh my memory. But you get the idea of the beetle after flying over to the fruit and after sitting down, and then the beetle goes in and starts munching on this fig, fruit. Okay, now all I have to do is create yet another composition, and make. I'm just gonna pretend this is my film. Okay, my film. Actually, the title of this film is Glorious Victory. Maybe on another video I'll talk about my process for this film, but for now, I'm just gonna pretend this is my entire film, although there are probably about 20 to 30 more scenes I had for this film, so I'm just taking this 2 as an example. I'm gonna go ahead and put down 10 seconds as a total duration of both of these scenes, and hit OK. I'm gonna first bring scene 02 final and scene 03 final composition. Just put scene 03 next to scene 02, and done. Right, so it sits there and then it starts munching on that fruit, and then it turns out if you click on the last image or the composition in this composition, the duration it shows is supposed to end at 8 seconds and 24 frames. 8-second composition settings, 8 seconds and 24 frames. Okay. All right. Now, another mistake that you guys should learn from my mistake is that, well, it's not quite a noticeable mistake, but I should have been saving it as I go on, because you cannot trust technology 100%. And so who knows, computer might crash or anything, like something like that. So go to file and save, or command S on your keyboard as often as possible. I only did it three times throughout this piece. But anyways, so once you're done and you're ready to make an MP4, high quality MP4 file, you go to composition, you go to add to media encoder queue. That media encoder window is up. All right, so here, glorious victory, right? So this is exactly how I named. And so basically it's opening in the third party application, which is media encoder. Now all you have to do, so there are a couple of steps to ensure that, to make sure that you have the highest quality. And so first of all, you click on this H264 where it says H264. And once the dynamic link connection opens up, you're gonna see the final render queue. Then what you're gonna do is, once that opens up, you go to in the video area here on the right side, you click match source, and then down here, instead of VBR, you go to CBR. Although even if you don't change anything here, it should be fine. And leave it at anywhere from 15 to 40. And click on use maximum render quality down here. If you have audio, make sure your audio is selected as AAC. Output name, click on where you're telling it where it's supposed to be saved. So click on the name. Okay, so out of here, maybe on the tutorial, I'll go to day 3 right here. I'm gonna underscore and put test, and then go ahead and hit make sure this is MP4. I mean that it is by default, and hit save, and then hit OK. And all you have to do at this point is to click on the play button, which is to start making a movie. Then the blue bar goes, this blue bar on the encoding panel goes all the way to the end of it. Then you're done.